Woo! Did I scare you? What a crazy week we have ahead, okay? That's why I'm making this video, so I can make everything in 4.4 clear. For some of you that are not here today, tomorrow, some of you that are not here Thursday, there's just like so much going on, right? So I'm going to summarize everything in this video using your 4.4 notes. So please follow along. Let's summarize. Up until now, you know how to graph. Like you know how to graph with transformations. And you know two techniques, my method, but also the more standard technique. Whichever technique you like, you may use, okay? There's been two videos for you, one with this method, revisited, but also another video with a new method that shows you how to graph this too. So make sure you take a look, and I'm sure you've already taken a look. If you haven't, what the factor, right? Okay, so make sure you try graphing 63. That was assigned on the homework for you, right? So you can try number 63 on your own. If you haven't, graph it now. I've also provided you with the transcript of all the work that's involved in completing the graphs for 61 and 63, okay? But I'm going to go back to the parts that we've kind of skipped around, okay? Now you should be able to go back to this page and try graphing these here. Okay, if you're here with me in class, then you are probably already finished these, okay? So you should be able to graph these, no problems. Let's graph those, okay? You know what, this one, we could kind of, you can kind of try it, okay? But I'm going to come back to it. Now, here, part 5, okay? Some of you guys have been asking about this viewing window thing, right? Viewing window. It's kind of cool. And this book that you're using right now, this textbook, the current textbook really emphasizes the viewing window, okay? So I guess if you have an idea of what this graph looks like, it's a negative cosine graph. So you know that you should have an idea that it goes to the minimum and then it starts at the minimum, it ends at the minimum. Yeah, we have that kind of idea. So if you can see that, and you should be able to see that it does not have a horizontal or vertical shift in either of these. They want us to write the actual window, but also it's helpful if you identify your peanut butter dang, okay? I think that's also very helpful, and then it'll help you with a window, okay? There's no shifts or anything, so you can see that the amplitude is, try it, okay? You start from, it starts from the minimum, right? So let's actually highlight the 5 critical points. Okay, it starts from the minimum, and it ends at the minimum. So you can see that the midline, there is no shift, but I mean, the midline, you can kind of tell already that this line here, y equals 0, it splits the graph in half, right? You can see the amplitude here and amplitude here, right? So the amplitude is obviously a 3. Period, maybe that's harder to see, but if you understand what a period is, you can see that it goes like that, right? It's from the minimum to the minimum, but you don't really know you do know, I mean, you have this equation to work with, right? Okay, so your B is 2 and your dang is 0 because there's no vertical shift. There's no this, right? So how do you get the period? You know that period is 2 pi over B. It's 2 pi over 2, which gives us pi. That means this guy has to be a pi. Well, if you see, how many cycles do you see, right? You see another one here, right? So this guy must be a 2 pi, 2, negative 2 pi, okay? That's the viewing window. But how about the viewing window for the y values, right? So the y value must be, let's count, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it must be a 4 here and a negative 4 here. And that's what a viewing window is. But I think identifying the parts of the graph that you see and identify is actually really nice to do. So try that for this one here. Number 32, okay? And then you can ask me to check your answer. But I'll also be providing you with all the completed transcript of my notes you can check, okay? All right, but I can already tell that this guy, by this frequency of half, also make sure you rewrite if you can't see that the B is a half, okay? Make sure you rewrite, okay? I can already see that in just 2 pi, it'll only complete half of the full cycle of a sine graph. See if you understand that statement, okay? Because of this half, this frequency is only a half. It means in 2 pi, I only see half of the original sine function. And I know that this graph has to look like that. It has to start from the mid and end at the mid. I'm sorry, it has to start at the mid and end at the mid, okay? All right, so try that and check your answer with my transcript, or you can ask me in class, okay? All right, let's move on. Okay, so you can try 2 more of these as well. Okay, for these ones though, you may have to find it in your graph, right? Okay, in your notes. Find A and D. And they want us to find, there was definitely a vertical shift in these, right? In this one particularly. Oh, wait a second. Oh, and then this one in this form, okay? Well, actually, I think I swapped the instructions, right? Look, take a look at it. Oops, okay? So this one doesn't really have a vertical shift, right? But this one does. So ignore that as instructions. But I think this one, yeah, you know what? Just try writing the equation and check with me, okay? And the way you would do that is just by identifying your peanut butter, ding. Same thing here, peanut butter, ding. Check it out, okay? Try that. So that's the same kind of thing here. All right, now we're going to move on to, more graphing. So when you look at this, check it out. The only thing I'm going to warn you about is make sure you rewrite. 2 should be taken out, factored out, right? And then you got to go backwards. So it's actually 2 pi over 3. Remember, you're technically multiplying it back in to get 2 pi over 3 with something. So you have to divide it out. So what does that mean? Okay, so what does that mean? You got to really think about these things, okay? So whatever method you like to use, I don't care, okay? But hopefully you rewrite it till it looks like this. Minus 2. And then you know what you could do? You could try it. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times pi over 3 is 2 pi over 3. So this right here shows you the phase shift. So the phase shift is actually pi over 3 right. It moved to the right, pi over 3. Of course, it went down 2. I'm only going to highlight this part of the graph because I could see that you would know how to graph this because I think most students love to think that this is a ps or the ps, right? But I want you to know it's this guy here when it's written in 2b x minus c over b format. Okay, all right. Now I have that on tape so you can't miss it and say, oh, I didn't know. Okay, all right. So try graphing those. Yeah, and you're going to try writing the equations of these as well. Do you want to try one with me? Let's try one together, okay? Let's try one together. Woo! It's going to be tricky dicky. Now, we can tell that this is a sine graph, right? This is a sine graph, not a cosine graph. And this definitely, you can start from anywhere. We can write this in so many different ways. So, you know, maybe Julie thinks one way, maybe Jenny thinks some way, maybe Kelly thinks some way. Okay, it doesn't matter. But I'm going to not be weird and I'm going to start from here. Okay, I'm just going to start from there. Why not? Okay, but maybe we're going to try one where someone starts from here. Okay, so we'll try both of them. So we'll do this one and we'll do this twice. Okay, all right. So peanut butter dang, and remember, try the VS and the PS. But I can already tell that yeah, you can apply them here because this is all transformations. Okay, but what I want you to always do is write it in this format first, and then first, and then multiply your b in to get this final answer for me. Okay, so let's try this. And if you notice right away, I can see that the midline is 0, right? Because the amplitude is from here to here, maximum to the midline and minimum to the midline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually sketch out a little midline here. I like to do the dotted line here because then it clearly, I can see, visualize that the midline is there. So I'm going to actually, sorry if I've been doing this with not zoomed in, okay? So again, vertical shift, none. You can write none there, but you can also write that D is y equals 0. That's a, sorry. I'm gonna, you know what? For the D, let's just write a 0 there. Or y equals 0, right? Okay. Amplitude, easy peasy, right? From here, I can see that there's a max here of 2. Okay, I think that kind of stuff should be very clear. I think the P and the B are tricky dicky. Okay, well, in this case, for the equation 1, right? For my first case here, I know that there's no phase shift because I can see that this is a negative. Isn't this a negative sign graph? Negative sign graph. So I know when I write my equation, I'm going to have an A. So you know what? I'm going to start. I'm going to start with a -2 there. Okay? And it's a sign graph. And then I'm going to fill in the rest. Okay? The final answer, right? All right. So what's the period? Well, period, I know that this graph, it doesn't show one full cycle. But I can go from any, right? And just see. Okay? So I can see that it went from, let's see what that says, right? So this is 2 pi here. This is 2 pi here. And this is -2 pi here. So what's my period? My period is -4 pi. I'm sorry, no, my period is 4 pi. Sorry about that. 4 pi. Okay? My period is 4 pi because look, it went from mid to the next mid, and just half of it was 2 pi. So I know my full period for the full cycle is 4 pi. Okay? But you remember how, now, you see how we could actually do this one first right now? So what you're going to do is, well, I know for sure that this guy, I got this by doing period. Isn't period equal to 2 pi over b? But I don't know my b. Wait, I'm going to move my face so you can see this. Oh, actually, I'm going to go down, okay? I know for sure my b, I don't know what that is yet, but I know my period was 4 pi. So what does that make my b? So 2 pi over 4 pi equals my b, so my b is 1/2. So I'm going backwards. Usually we get the b, and then we plug it in here to get the period. But now I know my period, so I'm going to go 2 pi over b, and I'm going to solve for b. So my b is 1/2. Okay, I think we're done. What I mean by that is this. I know for sure my b is 1/2. I know my phase shift, I went to the right, nothing, to the left, nothing. Because remember, I'm doing this one first. I'm going to highlight the first one I'm doing. Okay? That's my first one. And I went up and down, nothing. So here's my completed answer. -2, sine, I'm going to multiply in. And this is my equation 1. That's my first. Remember my first, okay? How about my second equation? Okay, let's write a second one. The second one does have some transformations, right? So I know that it has some transformations. What kind of transformations? Watch this. Okay, so everything else, I don't know if you noticed, it stays the same. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to say this guy, this information here, and this equation is a beautiful answer. And this is for first case. Starting at 0, right? But I'm going to do now the second case here. Starting, oh shoot! Whoa, that's scary. I don't know what's happening there. Maybe I was pushing something, okay? So I'm going to start here, my second, okay? Oh, second, shoot. Can you guys read that? Okay, my second case, and that starts here, okay? So everything stays the same. Oh, wait a second. Peanut butter, right? Oh, I got so excited. So peanut butter thing, okay? And then you do your vis and plus, right? So wait, let's do the amplitude doesn't change. Period doesn't change either if you think about it. The frequency and the period does not change because no matter where you start, I'm going to highlight this one with the, I don't know, maybe a purple, okay? Look, this cycle still ends here. So it went from -2 pi to 2 pi. So it's still, everything remains the same. The vertical shift also remains the same. Okay, so vertical shift, none. Psst. Yes! This is different. Ding, 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 ding. And I'm going to actually highlight, I'm going to put a star on there too, right? Well, wait, what did it do? Didn't it remove, it didn't start from 0, right? It went to the left. Left, 2 pi. So left 2 pi. Okay, I'm going to write that with alphabets, okay? Left 2 pi. All right, so let's start writing this equation. Y equals. Wait, if it starts here, isn't it a positive sign graph? So our amplitude becomes a +2. Not like the other one. Because it depends on where you start. Okay? So it's +2 sine. My b is the same, so it's 1/2. My phase shift was left 2 pi. Left 2 pi. I know you learned in algebra 2 many times. If you go to the left, if the original format is a minus here, if you go left, it's a negative, right? Therefore, it's going to be turning positive. It's going to turn positive. And your up and down, your vertical shift is still 0. So let's actually summarize this into this format. Remember, they want this format. We always start with the phase shift format, but we're going to change the equation, and the final answer should be y. 2 sine half x plus, oh, yeah, sorry, I can multiply it in, right? So I know I'm going to multiply the 2's half x, half times 2 pi is just pi, and that's it. That's our final answer. Okay, so try that for the next one. Try writing the next one also, or the next two in maybe two different ways. Okay, but I always tell you which format I want you to write, whether it's in this format with a sine, or I may ask you, hey, write this one with cosine, like this. And I say, write this one. You know what? For the fun of it, let's try this one as this. A sine bx minus c plus d, and also y equals a cosine bx minus c plus d. Try it in two different ways, okay? This page. All right, please watch the next video. I hope this wasn't too much for you. Bye.